You're wrong about HBar. There's something happening on the world stage right now that has me absolutely shocked about where HBar is going into the future, and it really should be on your radar, guys. Hit the like button and let's get into it. Now, guys, many people are just watching HBar videos over and over again, and they want to know, am I going to get rich buying HBar? And that's because of something I told you before, and it's confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is basically you just wanting to be told over and over again that HBar is going to go up. And you're probably liking it, because it is. But there's a big reason, there's something you should be paying attention to that's far more important than just getting told over and over again that HBar is going up. And it's this. Big banks, New York Fed's Innovation Group sees merit in digital ledger for global payments. Something else that we saw the other day. Larry Fink of BlackRock. Larry Fink says tokens are the next generation for the markets. Everything is going tokenized. We're talking stocks and shares. We're talking currency trading. Everything that has been existing on an old, out-of-date model for the last 50 years pretty much is now transitioning to tokenization. And there is some very interesting and important things that are happening there. And to understand which currencies, which digital currencies are going to be benefiting most from this. Now we know that we're going to be looking towards ledgers for global payments. Citigroup, HSBC, Bank of New York Mellon, and other financial giants have been experimenting with what is called a regulation liability network for conducting round-the-clock wholesale payments using shared ledgers, and a paper release Thursday suggests the systems has potential. And in the past on the channel, I've showed you Quant and how Quant are working with the Bank of England on Project Rosalind to see whether or not Quant can implement CBDCs for the UK. It's all happening at the same time. And why HBar is so perfectly positioned for this is we already know that the transactions are just ridiculous, with over 10 billion transactions so far and multi-million transactions every single day. We know that they're phenomenally well positioned to be able to handle the quantity transactions that's going to be required. Now we come down below, here you can see 120 million transactions in the last 24 hours, 5.64 seconds to finality, and the average cost insanely low. And if you're wondering, well, yeah, the average cost is so low, how can HBar be worth more money? Well, I'll come to that just in a moment. But what I want to do, guys, is come down. Remember, we're talking about the financial systems. There's a really big reason that HBar is so well positioned right now, and it is already governed by a number of firms in this space that are going to be moving towards a tokenized world. And obviously we've got a huge array of different ones here, but I want to focus mainly on the finance. We've got DBS, okay, which is a big Singapore-based bank. We've got Standard Bank, Shinhan Bank, and a range of others within the financial system. This is really important because it shows that they're already positioned to be able to start handling this volume of transactions. They're already positioned with a number of these different banks in order to move into a tokenized world. Now, it's not going to happen overnight, but it's going to be happening over the next year to 2 years, maybe a little bit longer. And that's really exciting. And you're like, well, why, if this is such a big deal, is HBar still so cheap? Well, there's something else that is needed to make a token go up in value. And that is, guys, people, retail, to drive the prices up. Now, obviously, we're in a bear market. We're at the bottom of a bear market, but the transactions are insane. And all of the time, the ecosystem using these transactions for HBar is far outgrowing all the other cryptos out there pretty much within the same environment. That's really, really important because that growth is going to drive the demand all the time for the token price. And if you're getting all that demand on the tokens already, and then you get everyone else flooding in to buy HBar during a bull market, well, you know what happens to the price, guys, because once supply starts to run low and demand is huge, HBar is going to absolutely rocket towards the upside. And this is exactly why you need to be paying attention to this token. Yes, there are other things. There is other noise around that sort of has us a little bit wary about what's going on with HBar. There is a token unlock. There will be more tokens being unlocked all the time. And that means with inflation, obviously it will have a negative impact perhaps on the price. But you're adding more tokens in all the time, but that's just necessary to be able to have HBar in a position in the future where it's able to operate on the level that it is required to do so, to be able to drive those financial institutions. Now, there are obviously other tokens within the space that are worth paying attention to because of this. Quant is another one for sure. And if you're subscribed to my channel, I update you regularly on what's happening with Quant. Obviously, as well, you're getting stuff going with XRP and XLM, and I do have a bit of a kind of an idea behind maybe the reason now that XRP is so heavily being scrutinized by the SEC. And I think maybe it's because the SEC is trying to get control of XRP, mainly because they want to use the tech in this kind of a system. So let's have a look at the markets right now and see what is really going on. Now we can see that Bitcoin is going very strongly. Now this week we have big news coming out with inflation and potential for interest rate changes in the US. Obviously this is a very big narrative for crypto. Inflation, if inflation data is good and the inflation appears to be coming down, then we could perhaps start to think about interest rates starting to creep down as well. I think that that will be a very big, exciting thing coming for Bitcoin. Obviously, guys, we've got the BlackRock ETF application in again. I think at some point it's going to get approved. If that happens, the gloves are off and Bitcoin's going to fly. Very exciting times. But we can see that HBar is doing nothing really. Pretty unexciting, to be honest. And that's why we want to be paying attention to this now, guys. We can chill out, go to the beach and do whatever when we're buying HBar now, okay? This is when we want to pay attention. Now, obviously, you want to buy using your own research or not buy, whatever. Up to you. I'm not a financial advisor. Do your own thing, okay? I am, however, looking at HBar right now for a very good reason. Now, you know I love a buy zone, guys. Who doesn't? We talk about buy zones quite regularly on here, but we do seem to have a buy zone area that kind of runs through here. Now, last time HBar got into this area, we can see that we did aggressively pull down through, and then from there, we kind of moved up again here. Now, look at this big candle here. I want to pay your attention to this big candle because it showed that last time we were around this area roughly, we saw big buying pressure. Now, admittedly, we haven't got down there again, but last time we saw, what, at 1.30%. We've come back down. Eventually, I do think that we're going to bottom out here. Now, you don't know exactly where the bottom of the market is for HBar, but I know that we are much closer to the bottom than we are to the top. And that's all you need to know. Is HBar a good buy right now? Well, yeah, I think in my opinion, it is a pretty good buy. It might creep lower. And if it does creep lower, what's the worst that could happen? Well, we do have the previous lows from the beginning of the year, you can see. From current levels down to the beginning of the year lows, you're looking at negative 24%. Now, obviously, that's not the absolute bottom. Who knows? It could go lower. I don't think we're going to see those prices again, however. I do believe that we are on the way up. Therefore, well, what do we look at? Well, we know that, back to all-time highs, we have a roll of the dice to what? A 10x. So let's look at it this way. If I put in $100, at some point I could be looking at a $25 loss if it gets down to that lowest level. However, I could be looking at $1,000 instead. Would I risk $25 to make $900 profit? I know what I would do, guys, okay? Think about that. I think as well that we are going to see a bigger growth than this. I don't think that we're going to go back just to all-time high. I do think that HBar could be pushing towards sort of $2, okay? In a really exciting, ideal world. But, given the changes that we're seeing right now happening in crypto, a 43, 50x for a coin like this, I do think it's an opportunity. I'm not saying that you just buy and hold forevermore hoping for that 50x. I'm saying that you buy and you start to take profits off the table, or at least that's what I will be doing. Don't do that just off of what I say. Make sure you do your research and understand what I've been talking about. Also, if you want to ask me more questions and find out more about this, there's loads of guys in my free Telegram, which is linked down below in the description. Make sure you get into that, guys. Absolutely free. You can get in there and ask lots of other people what they're doing, whether they've been buying HBar, selling HBar, whatever it is. And also, there's lots of special offers going in there all the time. If you enjoyed the video, guys, hit the like button for me. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. See you in the next one.